And good morning. This is Common Sense America. I'm Eden Hill, and it is Thursday, and I am so excited. I cannot believe we were almost into February, but we're in the last Thursday of January. And as you know, I am all about God, family, and country. And as you know, I love featuring women of faith and women in leadership. And so this morning, I have the distinct honor to bring to the show Gloria Giorno. She is the founder of United Women Foundation in Tennessee. And I want to show you something. This was on their website, and I was checking out their website, and I love the quote: conservative women do it better. And I want to bring over Gloria. Gloria, I love that tagline as you have it on your website. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Eden. And thank you. Yes, we love that tagline as well. And we're actually going to be having merchandise that has that on there soon.
Did you come up with that, or was it one of your girls that came up with that?
Actually, it was one of my first board members who, yes, she and I sat on the board for United Women. And yes, she came up with it. And she's extraordinary. She's an extraordinary conservative young lady who graduated from college and went on to work for a conservative.
Mhm.
And she came up with it and she gave it to us.
Oh, I love it. Well, welcome to the show. I would love to first hear so much about what you are doing. I know that you're based out of Tennessee, but I also know you are from Chicago and you travel a lot for the conservative movement, and your family is very much at the forefront of the conservative movement. But I love more than anything your powerful voice for women in the conservative movement. So let's first and foremost, let's talk about your background and what led you to do this foundation and why in Tennessee?
Well, to start with, I'm originally from a suburb outside of Chicago. And in 2014, we decided that we wanted to get away from the blue state.
Mhm.
And so we decided to move to Tennessee,
Mhm.
which we love. Tennessee is a wonderful state. I would highly recommend it for any conservative. And we decided to move here, and our youngest was going into high school.
Mhm.
And so it was very important for us that he be surrounded by our people.
Mhm.
And so we moved here. And when he went on to college, we found that being a conservative at a university is very difficult.
Mhm.
And I heard more and more stories, and our son is in politics,
Mhm.
and he is very active with the conservative movement.
Mhm.
And so he had a very difficult time, especially in 2020.
Mhm.
I spoke with a lot of his friends, and that's how it came about to me that these girls are not welcome, especially girls are not welcome at conservative club meetings at schools, high school, university, anything. And I wanted to create some place that they could come to and they
Mhm.
feel that they could share what they truly feel and grow the movement. And so from that was born United Women of Tennessee. And now
Mhm.
we are United Women Foundation because originally we only worked with the state of Tennessee, but
Okay.
now we are nationwide.
Let me go back to something. You just mentioned that girls specifically, women specifically, were very unwelcome. Why is that? Why was that? What did you uncover?
Well, in doing some research, I realized that girls want to be in sororities and they want to be popular. I mean, if you go through Instagram, if you go through social media, I'm not on TikTok or anything like that. But
Right.
if you look at that, it's mostly girls who are, I mean, it's very few boys compared to girls. I mean, men don't seem to have they don't want to be famous. They don't want to have their picture glamorized and whatnot. And
Right.
the left has a way of doing that with
Mhm.
celebrities, with, the left just has an excellent way of doing that, of promoting themselves.
Mhm.
And so I found that that is why it is more difficult for young ladies to fit in
Mhm.
because most of those people who are influencers, they are the left. And
Right.
so that's why I honed in on girls because I wanted to show them that they can be conservative, they
Mhm.
can still be on social media platforms, and they can still excel at what they're doing and do it better than anyone else. And
Mhm.
it's a good thing to be a conservative and to be pro-life and Christian and share that with
Mhm.
other young ladies. And
Mhm.
so from that, I formed a small board and it just grew. And my
Mhm.
board members are basically between the ages right now, my current board is between the ages of 15 and 30. So very young ladies, very young.
Yes.
Of course, we have an advisory board, which is women my age, but primarily I work with the board, and they're exceptional. And when I first started this, it's only 2 years. We started during COVID, so everything was on Zoom.
Right.
So 2 years ago when I started, my board members were college students, and my youngest Sven was 18, and that's the one who thought of the hashtag.
Right.
He's still active with us, yes.
So let me ask you about this, the foundation and how it's been growing. So you have your advisory board, you have your young board members, and what we see on the landscape of 2024, what is right in front of us. How is this foundation preparing and giving powerful tools to these young conservative voices and women to be able to have and participate in what is coming down the pike?
Well, we have quite a few ways. Every second Tuesday of the month, we have a Zoom meeting. We interview a conservative. It can be one of our senators. It can be a senator from another state. It can be your neighbor next door.
Right.
It can be a conservative who is making a difference and actually, doing something in their community or nationwide. I mean, honestly, I'm very happy to interview senators, elected officials, who not, but I also like small organizations, other nonprofits that are making a difference. We're very active with the pro-life movement. We're very active with that. We're very active now with the transgender issues going on. And I'm not going to name off any hospitals, but nonetheless, we should all be very vigilant of what's going on in our states. And so that's one of the ways we're doing it. And we interview these people. I don't do the interviews. I actually mentor our ladies, and they conduct the interview because they are our future. I mean, they are the ones who are going to be taking this forward. So if we're all just sitting here and doing our thing and not enabling and helping them, the left will get them. And I mean, that is very frightening. The left will get them. So we need to have more groups like United Women Foundation. We are looking for more, adult women who want to mentor our young ladies and mentor throughout the country.
That's fabulous.
Another way we're doing it is we offer a scholarship. A very dear conservative friend of mine, a patriot, Alicia Lundquist, passed away over a year ago. And so we started a scholarship in her name. My scholarship does not reward a girl who has the best grades or someone who needs it financially. It goes to the most conservative young lady who is actually using that conservatism right now to make a difference.
Right.
Our first recipient is a young lady from Georgia, and she's making a difference because she is in school studying physical therapy to take care of veterans, which is amazing because our veterans really need more care.
Yes.
And our second recipient is a pro-life activist, and she speaks throughout the country. She is incredible. Both young ladies are absolutely incredible. So we're looking to do 11 scholarships in 2023.
Okay.
One in Tennessee always, and then we've added 10 additional states, quite a few blue. And we are looking to grow. So as a 501c3 nonprofit, yes, we always welcome donations because that's how we operate.
Okay.
And yes, I do think we can make a difference. And we're targeting 10 states for the next 5 years.
Okay.
In 5 years, we will be in all 50 states.
Well, let me ask you this. How did these amazing women hear about you initially to get involved? And, you're in Tennessee. So did they say, oh, I'm from Pennsylvania, I better not, I probably can't get involved? How did that all evolve for these amazing young women?
Interestingly, I sit on another group. I mean, we all help each other. I sit on another group on Sundays, and it is all for conservative women, 50 conservative women throughout the country. And we all sit on Zoom, and every Sunday evening, we talk about what's going on in our states. And some of the things I hear remind me of when I lived in the former communist Yugoslavia. I was born in this country, but I did attend school in Zagreb, which is now Croatia. I'm Croatian. Well, I'm American first, and then I'm Croatian. And so interestingly, in this group of women, we talked about the younger generation, and we talked about what was going on at my son's school. And it's all women. So I came up with this idea and I bounced it off a few of these women, and they were very supportive.
Mhm.
And they sit on my advisory board.
Mm,
So that's basically, we talked about it for about 8 or 9 months.
right.
And it took a lot of planning. It took a lot of planning. And then it's basically grassroots. I mean, I feel grassroots is great for every organization,
Yes, it
even
is.
for politicians, even if you're running for office, grassroots is where it's at.
It
And
is.
so I reached out to some people some young ladies that I knew, and I said, would you like to sit on a board? We had a meeting, we decided to do it. And it's incredible. It's incredible when you start.
Mhm,
We kind of, the momentum is there and
mhm,
it's huge now. We're like moving at record speed. And so it's a lot, but I have a wonderful board and we're all
mhm,
working together, and we're planning a lot of events, having some panel discussions coming up this
mhm,
year.
mhm.
We're hosting some speakers from out of state, and we're continuing on with our Zoom because the Zoom connects everyone throughout the country.
Right.
And then the events we are doing right now in Tennessee, but
Okay.
we hope to do them in other states as well. And that will be, later this year, but we're
Mhm.
hoping to be able to do them in other states as well.
Let me ask you this. What's the top 5 issue areas that these young women come to you and say, this is my heart, this is my passion. I'm seeing this happen. Is it the veteran issue? You mentioned pro-life, you mentioned
Mhm.
veterans, you mentioned the transgender. Are those some of the top issue areas that are really coming out of this group they're then saying, okay, I got my armor on. I'm ready to go out and tackle this because I know I have a powerhouse full of women behind me who are going to support me. And I also now know the tools to enact in any situation. Is that how things are unfolding?
I would say the top, our top topic is top topic, conservatism. We are trying to promote conservatism first and foremost by, yes, pro-life is at the top of our list. It's very important to us. We hosted a Christmas party last December. And of course, we do not charge our students. There is no fee for students to join our group.
Mhm,
And so likewise, at the Christmas party at a conservative establishment,
mhm.
we asked that everyone attending bring in something for a nonprofit that works with mothers who decide to keep their children instead of having an abortion. And so they brought in diapers and bibs and bottles and baby things.
Yeah,
And we always like to give back. So even being a nonprofit, we're still giving back. We don't ask for anything.
yeah.
And so pro-life is huge on our list. I mean, we feel, this generation now I mean, it's amazing.
Mhm,
And right
mhm.
now is the time for us to definitely get behind pro-life advocates and just work with them. And we do. We have an advisory member who
Mhm,
has her own organization, and she guides us through that.
mhm.
Um, yes, the transgender issue is huge
Yes,
and absolutely huge. And so it's difficult to explain to
it
people,
is.
very difficult,
It is.
and especially younger people. But we're trying to stay on top of that as well. And
Mhm,
I would say the most important thing, though, that I have found through all of this is giving a place for these young ladies to be able to come to,
mhm.
because they truly have nowhere to go. I don't think people understand. I don't think, as a parent, I don't think we fully understand when we
Mhm.
send our children to college,
Yeah,
even high school, but college more so because they're on their own, basically.
yeah.
What is actually going on? I mean, if
Mhm,
you get 10 students at a conservative club meeting, that's
mhm.
considered a lot. Even when you have 10,000 children attending that, I guess students attending that university, that's
Right,
not, that's the smallest percentage you can get.
right.
But nobody wants to be a part of it. And a very dear friend of mine shared with me that her daughter attended a small private university. Did not attend any Republican or conservative club meetings because they actually were beating up people who did, which is very frightening. In
Physic
America,
physically or online?
physically. So
Wow.
It's horrible. I mean, it's absolutely horrible. Physically, yes. And oh, be online. I mean, everybody loves to hide behind a computer.
Oh, oh yeah. Oh
I mean,
yeah.
we experience that. United Women gets threats. We get threats. We've been cut off of Instagram. We've been cut off of Facebook. I mean, we are rebuilding constantly because we have to. There's
Mhm,
just we just keep getting cut off, and
mhm,
it's because of what we do. But it's okay. We're going to keep fighting, so it's okay. But I mean, the biggest issue I have is getting young ladies to join us. And once they join us, they stay with us. But
right.
it's hard because I think they're scared. I
Mhm,
see fear. I see fear as being one of the toughest things for conservatives to be able to overcome. I mean,
mhm.
we see what happens. We see the threats. I mean, we all get them. I
Right.
mean, you're a conservative. I'm sure you get
Yes.
this too. I mean, it's very frightening.
I get the threats from the Republicans in name only.
I get the threats from everybody, from both. Actually, I
Because honestly, and you know what? Going back to you said conservatism being the top topic, we need to educate the next generation on that because a lot of people don't recognize the difference between being a conservative and a Republican in name only.
that's correct.
And our Congress is infiltrated. Our state houses are infiltrated with Republicans in name only, passing around their little candy, thinking that's a joke.
Yes.
And our next generation has no clue what the difference is. They're being indoctrinated with diversity, equity, and inclusion, but they're certainly not being indoctrinated with adversity and resilience.
That's exactly true. That's very, very true. That's why we try to be the go between and we try to bring them into our organization so we can show them the difference and show them the light. We
Mhm,
only interview conservatives.
mhm.
I mean, I know they're Republicans, I know they're pulling Republican ballots, but they have to be true conservatives.
Yes,
Who do we interview?
right.
And actually, Senator Marsha Blackburn was kind enough to kick off our group. She was the first person that we had interviewed on Zoom. We
Mhm.
could not find a more conservative
Yes.
senator than Senator Blackburn.
I
And
remember her. I remember her when I was a young college student
mhm,
and interning on the Hill at 18 and 19, and she was a freshman coming in, elected to the new Congress.
mhm.
And she has remained at the very forefront for women, conservative women leaders. Go
Yeah.
ahead. I just had to say that.
No, well, she is wonderful. The senator is extraordinary, and she is an amazing example for our young ladies, and they
Mhm.
do look up to her. And she has been so kind and gracious. I mean, she's been with us twice, and she will be joining us again this year. And it's wonderful to have a student ask the questions and interact with her.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's a true learning experience. I do think of United Women Foundation as an educational experience for young ladies and for women my age and any age. I mean, our members are between 15 and 95. So we do have members throughout. And it's very nice to be able to speak with the senator. And she's warm, she's friendly, and she's open to listening to what younger, middle aged, and older women have to say.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I'm very proud to be able to call her my senator. Very, very proud. And she is a shining example, and she leads us in Tennessee and throughout the country. And
Yes.
so we always, I mean, she's always very interested in what United Women is doing. And I
Mhm.
appreciate that. I really appreciate the time and the effort that she puts in trying to get to know us as well. And I mean, that's a gift. That's a gift from God. And so we're very blessed. And so moving to Tennessee was probably the best thing we've done in our lives. And I mean, it's worked out very well, and it definitely aligns with our values, our morals, and our Christianity.
Mhm. Which is most important, the Christianity piece, because the this culture war, they are so trying to remove faith in the public square. Anybody of a faith that believes in Christ Jesus, I say it loud and clear on this podcast, and I'm thankful it hasn't been taken down yet, but I am going to claim my faith.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, it's what we are fighting for is that what they're trying to diminish. It's no wonder our nation, which was a nation and still is a nation under God, but it is being taken away piece by piece, fragment by fragment, because of what they're trying to force down the throats of this next generation. One of my biggest concerns is this. I sit here and look at my goddaughters and my godkids who are either graduating, headed into university, or at university, and they are being raised in amazing faith-based Christian homes, conservative homes. And then you look at their LinkedIn profile and it has the pronouns and it has the,
Yes.
and I'm sitting there thinking, really, it took that small amount of time to distort what you are about, what your beliefs are. And I love what United Women Foundation is doing because it is helping. It's providing that safe haven for young women to be able to come in, feel loved, know that they are loved. You get where they are, whether their parents don't understand it or maybe are just not in tune to it, or just letting them grow up and become whatever. But you are providing that safe haven for these young women. Let me ask you this, as you are headed into an amazing 2023, do you cycle them in and out? And how does the transition work and coming in to the program and then cycling in, cycling out? And what are the steps for that?
As you can imagine, yes, they do cycle. They graduate from college. What I do is I also help them after they graduate. I
Mhm.
help them find gainful employment. I help them find a job with
Mhm.
conservative. So I do employ them with conservatives that I'm sure you know, and so we do that as well. I feel like yes, they come in and I work with them, as does my advisory board. And then once they graduate, yes, they move on to a job. Then we start all over again. So
Mhm.
then we get a whole new slew of young ladies
Mhm.
and we work with them. But I mean, we're very grateful that this year we're keeping the same board and
Mhm.
they're all still in college. We're young enough, they're still in college.
Mhm.
And so it'll be a little easier. But yes, it's very interesting because I've worked with only in 2 years, but I've worked with so many different young ladies and I feel like they're all my daughters.
Yes.
And I feel so close to them. And they know that they can call me anytime, day or night. And I am always here for them. I may
Mhm.
not be able to, talk to them at 2 or 3 in the morning, but I get their text and I will respond the next day right away.
Yeah.
But as will my advisory board. But yes, it's interesting. Um, you mentioned parents and families. I mean,
Mhm.
there is division in every family, even my own. So there is division in every family.
Mhm.
It makes it very difficult, very, very difficult. But we try to teach our young ladies that, they need to follow what's in their heart, what the Lord has guided them to follow. So that
Mhm.
is what we try to teach them, and we try to just make them stronger with that and carry on with their faith. We
Mhm.
do have a minister who sits on our advisory board as well,
Mhm.
and so she is actually a friend of mine from high school, from Chicago, so long ago. And I've always been a conservative, just in case you were wondering. Yes, my parents, and I have always my parents were conservatives as I have been. And so, yes, some of the girls do talk about, my parents aren't as conservative or my parents are leaning towards the left, but they have been brought to us for a reason and God has brought us together.
Mhm.
That's how we look at it. And we work with them, we encourage them, we try to give them strength. And I feel that we do.
Mhm. You had mentioned how you grew up, well, you were raised in Croatia, modern day Croatia. And as you look around and see, there was a quote, a percentage that came out on Daily Signal just the other day through the Heritage Foundation, that there's about only 16% of this generation, Gen Zs, that really have any respect for the United States of America.
Mhm.
And having grown up where you did and looking to America, what do you say to that?
It scares me. I have my older son's wife is pregnant, and we're going to be welcoming our first grandchild in July. And it scares me. The world we live in scares me. I have
Mhm.
lived through communism. I attended first grade in Zagreb, and it was Josip Tito then who was the dictator. And most children go to school with a backpack every day, and they don't need to have a lot of money in it. Well, when I was 6 years old, I always had $1,000 American dollars in 1971, 72. That was a lot of money. And I had $1,000 American, and we called it a book bag back then. And I went to an American Embassy school, but I did have that $1,000 always with me. And I knew to get into a cab if a civil war broke out, and I knew where to go on the border of Croatia and Italy to meet my aunt, my dad's sister, and my mother would come when she was able. And it was frightening when I look back at it. At the time, I thought nothing of it. I thought it was just a normal way of growing up. I thought nothing of it. Now looking back, I think I would never do that. I don't want my children. I mean, it was an excellent experience. I will be honest with you. Excellent experience. I mean, I've met so many interesting people, and I'm still friends with some of them. So it's a wonderful experience. And it's terrifying when you think about it at the same time, because you can't speak freely. I was not allowed to speak freely. But of course, at that age, I went to an American Embassy school. I spoke English. I learned English very primarily. And even though I was born in this country, but nonetheless, I see that happening here. And that's why I bring up my soon to be, granddaughter. And it scares me that we could be going into a socialist communist state. In some ways, we are. In some ways, we truly are. I mean, another thing that United Women is very, very interested in is no vaccine should be mandated. I don't know if it works. I don't care if it doesn't work. Nothing, it should not be mandated. We have our freedoms, and we have to stay with that. So that is another thing that we talk about. We find that to be extremely crucial to this fight, because right now we are in a war. We are in a spiritual battle right now. We are in a war, and we need to bring people together. Yes. My way of doing it is bringing young women together with other young women that they can talk to and they can grow with. And a lot of our members went to the Turning Point event, which was wonderful for them. And so it gives me more hope that, they'll learn something there, bring it back to us, and, grow with that. So I find that to be wonderful. Right. One of our board members speaks. She does the pledge at CPAC every year, which is another example of an exceptional organization that we would like to send our young ladies to. Of course, it's dependent on funding. But getting back to what I see happening, I mean, very fortunate to live in a trifecta red state. Very fortunate. And our senators are wonderful. Our congressmen are wonderful. I'm very fortunate. But coming from Illinois, my younger son always says we escaped. And we did. In a lot of ways, we did. And I do have a wonderful group of conservative friends up there. Absolutely incredible. Yes, I do feel that we're able to breathe down here. We are with our people. And, I have an example if you'd like me to share.
Please do, because I live in North Carolina.
Okay.
And this is a destination for abortion state. Yes, and it is under an empty suit. And it may have a Republican legislature, and a Republican lieutenant governor. But all I see is a socialistic communism agenda that is being infiltrated in our nation's backyard. The kitchen table discussions that I had when I was on the campaign trail in a red county, oh no, CRT is not here.
Right.
Wrong. It's here. It's here. And I heard it out of the mouths of the kids I mentor, and I heard it out of my godkids. So bottom line is, being in North Carolina, I say to my husband all the time, if they're going to start taking our gun rights away, this is going to be one of the first states, because we have an empty suit at the helm. And I always say to him, we need to be looking for freedom, and freedom is not here in North Carolina unless we get in Mark Robinson. Don't know if it's going to happen, because you know what? A lot of the people that fled for freedom from New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, they may have fled here for freedom, but they're still bringing in a lot of the progressive agenda that they sought to leave.
That's exactly correct. I have seen that happening here in Tennessee as well. And it does not please me, but we're going to fight back. We will always fight back. And when I want to tell you the story, when I was up in Illinois for Thanksgiving, and I probably took COVID with me. I don't know. I didn't know I had it, but it happens. So I don't have a doctor up there any longer, clearly. And so I just walked into a hospital
Mhm.
and just went to the ER just because I actually thought I had the flu. Never occurred to me it was COVID.
Mhm.
And the doctor, the nurse came in, asked me if I was vaccinated. That was her top concern. I have a fever of 103.5. I have vertigo. I can't move. But that is your top concern. And when I said no, she left. I was left alone in a room for about 2 hours.
2
And
hours. She
oh
just
yeah,
left.
she just left. I was just left alone because it's a very large hospital, so there were many other people that needed to tend to. Evidently, I tried pushing the buzzer, no one came. And finally, a doctor came in. He sat at least 10 feet away from me, at least. And if the masks work, I have to say, and I am immune compromised, but if the masks work, I have to say, why are you afraid of me? You had me masked
Right,
up. You're masked up. Why are you
right,
afraid of me?
right.
And so the doctor, he sat, yeah, about 10 feet away. And he said to me, he said, I heard that you used to live here because I filled out a form. And he said, and now you live in Tennessee. What are you doing going down to the South?
What does that have to do with you being in there? What's that have to do
What?
with
He
anything?
did not touch me. He did not come near me. So exactly. So I said, I'm not feeling very well. That was my concern. I'm not feeling very well. I'm with my family. I don't want to get them ill. And he said to me, he said, why aren't you vaccinated? And I said,
That's none of his business.
well, I said, that is my freedom of choice. I said, are you going to treat me or do I need to go somewhere else? That is the bottom line. And so he said, you have a cold. I have
Oh,
a fever of 103. I have vertigo. I have a cold. And so they claimed that a nurse came in after he left and
wow.
he claims to have swabbed me. They didn't. I can tell you, I am almost positive that they didn't run my test and they sent me home. That was it. They sent me back to my home. And I came down here. I came back to Tennessee 3 days later, of course. I was so sick, we couldn't drive back. Came back 3 days later, and I went to a wonderful hospital here because it was the middle of the night. And yes, I did test positive for COVID. And you know what? Not one of those people in that hospital room, when I got there, had a mask on. Just didn't because, this is our freedom of choice.
Right.
And I wasn't masked, and I asked them if they wanted me to be because I just left Illinois. So it was just something I'd gotten used to at that point. And they came back and they told me I had COVID. No one was afraid of me. The service was exceptional. And I mean, they were wonderful. They called me the next day to see how I was. My doctor called me. And I mean, I cannot even understand
Mhm.
being at a hospital and not being treated properly, and a very prominent hospital in the top 5 in the country. I cannot understand not treating everybody equally. And
Right.
that really is very upsetting to me, which
Mhm.
makes me believe, getting back to your original question, that
Mhm.
some states are already living under socialist rule. They just don't know it yet.
Yes. Yes. They haven't awakened to it because a lot of people have their heads in the sand.
Mhm.
And I get it. I get it. Legacy and lamestream media, why would you want to listen to it? But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, we have got to bring more truth to our communities, whether it's just hosting coffee at our kitchen tables
Mhm.
or whether it is engaging in the community like you are, where you are in Tennessee, or whether it's the fact that I live in a liberal, stinking libtard state
Mhm.
and I have to go out and door knock and grassroots when I ran for state house to actually get true information from people where the other candidates didn't even bother. So I will also tell you this. This is another reason why I ran. And here's why. My husband, a United States veteran, served our nation 23 years in the Army, fought in Iraq, came home with a lot of crap.
Mhm.
And and long story short, during COVID, during the authoritarian rule, I took him. Well, we called the VA. He needs to be seen. No, if he doesn't have a vaccination, he cannot come in here. I got on the phone and I ripped that nurse a new one.
Mhm.
Then why are you even available to our veterans? Why do you say online that you're in urgent care for our veterans? No, you have to go to a local urgent care that will cover veterans. So you're sending us from A to Z because you don't want to bother with a veteran who fought for you.
Terrible.
Major issue there. Major issue.
Terrible. We have a board member, very young. She's in her early 20s. She's a veteran, and
Mhm.
she served in Afghanistan. So we're hoping that she will be interviewing a retired colonel for us,
Mhm.
and we're hoping to get some answers. And I'm working with her. Tennessee is very blessed. We do have a congressman who is a veteran, and it's it's a little different here. But yes, our veterans do not get as much as they should.
Mhm.
And I know that our elected officials are fighting for them always, but
Mhm.
I cannot see that in every state. I mean, I'm grateful to every veteran who served. I'm grateful to everyone who is currently serving.
Yeah.
But sadly, I've heard your husband's story before,
Mhm.
and I've heard it from so many people. I have a friend in Florida. I was just in Florida, and I have a friend whose son refused to get vaccinated, and he is in the service, and he's in an upper level in the
Sure.
service. And they had him quarantined for
Of
a
course
week,
they did. Of
and
course.
they delivered food to his door, and that was it. He was allowed to do what he had to do and then go right back. Well, they discharged him um, dishonorably. Guess what? That got reversed. Now he has an honorable discharge, and he is awaiting all his back pay.
Good.
There's no
Good.
reason for us to go after our own people. This is freedom of choice. This is still America. We
Yes.
cannot do that.
Yes.
And so we need to work harder for veterans' rights. We really, really do. And
Yes.
we have a lot of amazing organizations in Tennessee, a lot of nonprofits that are doing that. But we need to do better in Tennessee and in other states as well. But I mean, I'm very proud to say that here we do work for our veterans. We
Mhm.
do. But I go to other states and it's very lacking. So
Yes.
what you're saying is
Yes. Yes.
it's amazing to me that these are the people who are fighting for our freedoms every
Yeah.
day. And we don't have enough respect to take care of them when they are no longer in the service. That is just mind blowing to me.
Yes. Yes. Well, I'm a part of the REACH program for caregivers through the
Mhm.
VA. One thing I will advocate for, and I'll tell you what, my REACH coordinator is based out of Tennessee. I can't even get one out of North Carolina.
Yeah.
And so I do applaud the great state of Tennessee, also South Dakota, Florida. Let's
Mhm.
see. There's a couple other southern states, but North Carolina is not one of them. And my husband, and Virginia is a great state. My husband and I actually have been looking at other states.
Mhm.
Where can we go to get the best benefits for a veteran?
Well, I've heard that I also I'm in Florida a lot, in Naples in
Mhm.
particular, and
Mhm.
I have heard that the best VA hospital is the one in Tampa.
Yes, I've heard that too.
And that is, they come very highly recommended. They're very attentive. They're very good with veterans. So that
Yes.
might be a place for you to investigate.
Yeah.
I love the state of Florida. I think the state of Florida, I mean, Governor DeSantis was amazing
Mhm.
during COVID, absolutely incredible.
Yes.
And yes, I mean, despite the fact that hurricanes were coming through and whatnot, he was incredible.
Yes.
And I love, we live in Florida sometimes too. And I absolutely love Florida.
Mhm.
And so, yes, I would highly recommend Tennessee first, though. I mean, Tennessee, I think you would really be very happy in Tennessee. I think it would be your people. But Florida is very nice as well.
Yes.
Yes, I mean,
Yes.
it's exceptional. And yes, and I did have the privilege of going to the Trump Golf Club in
Yes.
West Palm Beach, and it was quite an experience to be with the president and to speak with him one on one. And it was amazing.
Mhm.
And yes, so I mean, personally, yes, I do feel he is a true conservative. I
Yes.
I mean, this is aside from my nonprofit, of course. I do feel that he is a true conservative, and he has exposed a lot of things.
Yes.
You spoke of, the rhinos, the swamp. He is exposed. He is brought to light, and I think people fear that, and I
Mhm.
think people are very afraid of what he is saying. And
Mhm.
it needs one person to start the conversation,
Right.
all talking about it. And I do think that the reason the left hates him so much is because he speaks the truth.
Right. That's exactly it. That's
And I
exactly it.
mean, but to be with him one on one, I mean, in a group of, 10 conservatives, it makes you feel like you are the only person in the room, the
Yes.
warmth and the
Yeah.
truthfulness. I mean, just very genuine, very sincere, very different than what the media portrays.
Yes.
And I was speaking with one of our elected officials about this the other day. And it's interesting how he and I both felt that, the media has vilified President
Mhm.
Trump
Mhm.
and all the good things he has done. And I, for one, really miss gas prices being a lot cheaper. And I mean, the price of eggs is exorbitant and crazy. And a lot of people in Tennessee
Really?
sue for this. I mean, this is why
Yeah.
they have chickens.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I will tell you in Tennessee, people are prepared, though. I have found in my experiences of traveling, people are very prepared in Tennessee. We're
Mhm.
not giving up our guns. You
Mhm.
can come for them. We're not giving them to you because that's the first
Exactly.
thing that, we lose control. We that's it. We're done. I
Yes.
mean, yeah, I mean, they will tell you, yeah, give us your guns. We'll take care of you. No, we don't need the government to take care of us. We can
Yep.
take care of ourselves.
Exactly.
That's the first thing. But I mean, yes, we also need to be dependent, self-dependent, self-reliant, be it food. I mean, I coming from the north, we make reservations.
Right.
Here, women can cook and they can and they bottle and they do so
Yes.
much. I mean,
Yes.
it's incredible to me. I never knew how to make bread or a pie until I moved to Tennessee. And now it's like, it's so natural. But
Mhm.
yes, I mean, I could freeze enough food to last us a year now.
Yes.
And the preparedness here is amazing. But when I tell that to other people, even my conservative friends in other states,
Mhm.
in Illinois, they think that, I'm one of us women with a tinfoil hat on. But
Nope.
I'm not. I am speaking the truth. And this is what I see happening, especially having had lived in a communist country. I
Yes.
see this.
Yes.
And I mean, we don't know how well we have it right now. It's not as well as it could be, but we
Mhm.
don't know what kind of freedoms we take for granted. I
Yes.
mean, another thing that bothers me greatly is the kneeling with the national anthem. That
Okay. What an insult. What an insult to my being a veteran spouse and
Mhm.
to my husband who served. I
Yes,
want to go over and literally strangle that soul. Do you
yeah,
have any idea what you are doing? Are you just going along with the woke culture to be cool? But you know what? 10 years down the road, you're going to want to go and beg them to go fight for your freedom because you have lost everything for kneeling.
exactly. We're a Gold Star family.
Mhm.
My son's cousin was killed in the line of duty in Chicago in 1995.
Mm.
And so the kneeling affects me in that way. I mean, Danny took care of the city of Chicago. He was a police officer and he
Mhm.
was killed at the age of 41.
That's so true.
And his daughter was 6 years old and she lost her father. So to us, I
It's
don't understand the disrespect.
it's
I,
personal.
I will never understand that. So that's another thing that we don't have that here. I mean, we have people who are true patriots in Tennessee. We have
Mhm.
people who are fighters, freedom fighters, and I'm proud to be one of them. I am proud to be here. And I mean, my husband, my sons, and I, we are very proud to be here. And God bless Tennessee. I have to tell you, it is just an incredible place to be. And I wish that every state could take a look at our formula and take it back with them. I'm not saying we don't have some blue cities. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
basically the major cities here, the
That
large cities are
yeah,
blue, which
yeah.
happens everywhere. But I mean, Tennessee is primarily, we're a red state and we're a proud red state.
Mhm.
So, yes, I feel strongly that God puts us in different places for different reasons. I
Yes.
was born in a suburb outside of Chicago, and then I lived overseas. I lived in France. I lived in the former Yugoslavia. I lived in Italy for a while. I lived all over. And I feel that God brought me there for an example. And I
Mhm.
remember exactly I mean, I grew up with my grandparents with a loving family. I mean, it was just wonderful to be surrounded by family. But
Yes.
now when I speak with my family, who is now in Croatia, which is a free country now,
Mhm.
they're free, but they're not. They're all vaccinated, and they don't understand why I'm not. So when I speak with
Wow.
all of them, and we fought really hard for our freedoms over there. And I don't understand. I mean, I just feel like I don't think they have a choice. Personally, they don't have a choice. So
Mhm.
as free as they are, people don't seem to understand they're not free. America is the only country of freedom, true freedom. And
Mhm.
if we lose what we have, we will
Yeah.
never, we have nowhere else to go. This is it. We either
Yes.
save ourselves now or we're done. We have nowhere to go. And I don't think people grasp that concept yet.
No, they can't grasp it.
They
They
can't.
That's why the show is called Common Sense America. But I think a lot of people, whether you are college educated, trade school educated, high school educated, wherever the journey has taken you, I think a lot of the common sense has been flushed down the toilet. I think it has a lot to do with the mind boggling, the brainwashing, the cult of the diversity, equity, inclusion. I think it has a lot to do with that. And I also think it has a lot to do with when it comes down to the education and the CRT that has been a part of since the 70s. I cannot stand when somebody says, "Oh, it just happened, during COVID." Really?
No, it's been trickling in. I've never used public schools. I've never attended one. My
Mhm.
children haven't. I mean, my husband didn't. I mean, we've always attended private school, and our children have. So I see it trickling into private schools, but and not even trickle. It's there. I mean, it's definitely there.
Mhm.
But we have that problem here in Williamson
Mhm.
County, and I have a very dear friend whose twins attended, Brentwood High School, and she, they're older, like my son, 23. And I mean, somehow it trickled in to their system. And being
Mhm.
in a red state, I think you're less vigilant. You don't
Right.
look for it as much as you do in a blue state.
Yes.
The
Yes.
problem, but that will be the downfall. That's why United Women is so near and dear to my heart, because even though I'm in a red state, primarily red state, I am working with all states at this point.
Mhm.
If it can happen here, it can happen anywhere.
Yes.
That's what scares me. That truly scares me. And just this morning, I spoke with a very dear friend whose children are young, 8 and 5,
Mhm.
and in public school in a very nice, affluent, community in Illinois. And I asked her if they had the CRT and the DEI, and she said absolutely not. And I said, take a better look. Yes, you do. I know for a fact that they do. So, I mean, it's very difficult for parents, though, to think about all that. It's
Mhm.
a lot. I mean, you're trusting that you live in a good community, a safe community, or what you perceive to be a safe community. Um,
Right.
my mother was a professor, a Fulbright professor, full tenured professor of 30 years.
Mhm.
My mother always said, if my students know my political beliefs, I have failed them as a teacher. My
Mhm.
mother lived through World War II. My mother lost everything in World War II,
Yeah.
and including her mother who passed away.
Mhm.
So my mother saw that coming. She knew what teachers were going to do. She did get her PhD from a liberal university in Illinois, but in Chicago, she saw what was happening. And my mother's been gone for 24 years. So people who have lived through communism, who have lived through a war,
Mhm.
understand. My father passed away 9.5 years ago. He taught my children, he taught me exactly what he had been through.
Mhm.
And we understand. And I think that seeing that, knowing that firsthand makes you fight so much more. I have a 23-year-old son who fights. He cheers the Young Republicans of the state of Tennessee. He fights every single day. He will
Mhm.
never give up. He is a part of the future, just like my young ladies with United Women.
Yes.
They are the future. But
Yeah.
we as adults have to work with them. We
Yeah.
have to mentor them, and we have to remind them that if America doesn't no longer exist, we have nowhere to go. This
Exactly.
is it. So we have to fight. So even if there is division within a family, we have to fight for this, because sometimes God has not spoken to those people yet. Sometimes they don't
Right.
know, or they have not received the message yet.
Mhm.
We have to keep the fight going. We just, there is nowhere else to go. And I keep saying that. I know I keep repeating that, but
No,
it's
do.
so
Please do.
important to send that message out. There is nowhere else to go. Nowhere. This is it.
Gloria Giorno, founder, United Women Foundation. Go to their website, unitedwomenofTennessee.org. It's been scrolling along the bottom. But more than anything, I want to get you back because we have got to talk about, more than anything, what is ahead for the next generation as you start building around the nation with this young women's group. I want your voice out there. I want you to tell the masses about what it was like for your parents. And you are so right. Keep repeating, because there is no other place to go. There really is not. and also with what you are doing to impact young women and your son and helping them and guiding them and giving them the tools. In part, you are also helping the parents. They may not realize it now, but you are helping the parents and the families that may have been split, the families that are trying to understand, but you are making such a huge impact. I am so grateful for your faith and your foundation and your family and what you are doing for our nation. So thank you so much for being here at Common Sense America. Will you please come back?
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It's been wonderful speaking with you. And yes, I will definitely keep you updated, and I'll be happy to come back and we'll continue the conversation because there's so much more to be said on this topic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.